Hello, hello. Welcome, one and all. Please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. This is Movies at Grandma's House, and we are live. Yes, we are live, interacting with you, and we're so happy to be here. We're going to have a special live episode. I'm your host, Isaac, and who's joining me for this special event?
This is Seth.
It's great to see you, Seth. How you feeling?
I am doing well today. Doing well. Refreshed.
That's great to hear. It's awesome to be here with you because we've just had an awesome season 2 of Peak Pixar where I just look back like how did we do that, Seth? How did we cover 11 movies?
I'm blown away, and the quality was just truly astounding.
Yeah. When you go back through those movies, you really see I think how spoiled we were, honestly, seeing those movies. Like that's what kept going to my mind is like at the time it was a constant oh, we'll just be anticipating the next Pixar movie. Here it comes, and it just kept going. It just was one thing after the other. So I'm just so pumped to be here and just kind of be reflecting back on these movies. And we're going to try and rank these movies. We're going to try and do like a joint ranking. So if you join in, anyone can comment and feel free to say any memories as well with Pixar. We'll be looking forward to the comments. So stay tuned for that as well. But I have to ask Seth, there's something when it comes to these movies, like was there one that kind of surprised you or maybe that you weren't expecting if it's a good or bad reaction when you were looking at these movies?
Um, I think I enjoyed, and this is going to sound weird if you watched the episode. I enjoyed Up a lot more than I originally did.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Ratatouille was another one that I think it's like sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's kind of so okay.
Yeah.
But it really hit me the time that we reviewed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it too. And I remember recalling all those movies were great. So it's just so much fun to go back and watch it. So we got our first comment here. It looks like Galaga Guy 88. So hello there, Galaga Guy. Thank you for joining. We just got this thing kicked off and just kind of reflecting back on these Pixar movies. And a big shout out to Galaga Guy 88 for joining us for the Monsters Inc. episode. That was such a fun episode. We had such a fun time with him. So thank you for joining for this. But any memories that you have, feel free to share them, or we'll just kind of give everyone a shout out that shares your memories, your thoughts. Because we're gonna rank them, but we're also just kind of reflecting on these Pixar films. As we just talked about, it feels like we were spoiled back then. These were just the word peak Pixar really does to us anyway. I mean, for sure, it really matches that. It's just a phase that Pixar was really hitting everything on the head, so to say. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you with Ratatouille. I think I really appreciate how some of the movies like Incredibles has really aged well in terms of pop culture because when that came out, superhero movies were kind of getting their start. They were popular, but not like they are today. It's like you watch it now and it's like, man, this would fit into the superhero movies you're seeing a craze of right now. It just fit right in. So that's something that stuck out to me. It's just, man, these movies do not age bad at all. They're just like a fine wine or whatever you want to say. It just ages so well. Like it's just incredible to think about. And
Yeah.
I still had just so much fun with these going back. So, but with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Does that sound good, Seth? Just go ahead and start ranking these things. As hard as I don't know how we're gonna do it, but maybe we can get some help from our viewers. Hello and welcome to everybody that's joining. We're gonna get into this. So we've got a nice little tier list. The 11 movies that we've considered. Got them all lined up. Now, we wanna have a little disclaimer when it comes to how this tier is set up because I gotta have to have Seth back me up on this. I this is how I feel. If you were to put these movies as a generic tier list, just movies in general, I don't think one of these would fall below A. Would you agree with that?
I I probably would agree with that. Yeah,
If not, it's really close. It's like
yeah.
it's just gonna be on the cusp of not making the A. So
Gallagher
it,
guy,
it's
88 says, "Seems like the more the new stuff comes out, the better the old stuff seems."
oh, that is so true. It is so true. We got to give you a highlight there. Yes, that is absolutely true. It seems like you come to appreciate these movies so much more because, unfortunately, you know, we'll maybe touch on some of the more modern movies. They're just more few and far between in terms of the quality.
Mhm.
This is going to be, whew, it just hurts my head looking at this list. But yes, to clarify on this list, we are pitting them against each other. So if a movie is on like we'll find out how we want to do this. If we put them on B or C, that's not that this is a B or C movie. That's the point I want to make across. Like don't take it like, "Oh, they think this movie's terrible." It's just we're trying to separate, give them a tier. And I think that tier is like hairline. What you say that's how it would probably look?
Yeah, there's certain I think we both feel like there's certain ones that are above the others, but then I think there's only a few that are below the others, and they kind of all fit in that one area. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's going to be hard for sure to
Yeah.
rank them.
Yeah, this is not going to
Yeah.
be easy. Okay. So, and to make it clear, this is a joint effort because I think everybody can make their own list. We're trying to make this a list that is universal the best it can. It's not going to be perfect universally, but we'll just give this a try. I I say, do you want to do this in order? So that would mean we would start at Toy Story. Does that sound good?
It might make more sense that way, yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to Toy Story 1, um, man, I'm gonna throw it in the S class. What is your thoughts?
That's completely, understandable. I feel like that is probably the benchmark maybe of this the whole peak Pixar. I don't know that that's the necessarily my favorite, but it's like I would say that's where everything needs to kind of be judged by. You know what I mean?
I agree. I mean, we can always switch things around. I don't
Yeah,
know how
yeah.
much we will, but this is not like
Let's try to
locked in.
be versatile here.
Yes, but personally, it's up there for me, and
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of people feel. This is the first Pixar movie, and typically, as time goes on, you know, it gets better and better. And you can argue that is the case with Pixar, but I don't know. You just go back and think of Toy Story 1, what it meant for the time and what it still means today. It still holds up so well. And yeah, my mind immediately goes to S. Like that's top, like you said, benchmark. So that is Toy Story. And we'll feel free to have comments if there's any disagreements on that or
Yeah.
what your thoughts are on where we're going to put this type of thing. Let me get this a little bigger so we can see. How's that look? Does that look better?
It's good to me.
Okay. So we got Toy Story up there. So that's going to take us to the next movie that was released. That's A Bug's Life. Start with you, Seth. What are your thoughts? What's kind of jumping out to you to put this one?
Um, I love the A Bug's Life. It's definitely a great movie, and it aged really well, as you were talking about. But I would say it was one tier below Toy Story, and that's just my opinion. How are you feeling about that?
I agree with you. Um, Depending on the comments we get, the things feedback, and if we let it kind of be pitted against others, I wouldn't be surprised if it even went down farther. But right now, just looking at it, that's where I see it. I agree. Like A is a solid for that movie to me. I think it's a classic. It's just, man, it's a movie I remember watching so much growing up, and we talked about it on the episode. It's just It's a great movie. It's so it pains me to put it there, but that's like or think about pushing it down more, but I could understand that too. So
Yes, I agree.
that's where we'll lock it in at. So I am
Did you
on this
see Gallagher Guy 88's comment?
go ahead and read it if you got a
It
chance there.
says Toy Story is S plus 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 plus.
All right, we've got his approval. There it is. Let's make sure we acknowledge that. I agree. It's like yeah, I don't know. We talked about it so much in the
And
episode, but it's up there.
and A Bug's Life is a great film. It's just not as,
Yeah.
iconic, I would say, as Toy Story. Toy Story was a masterpiece, as, I said in the Toy Story 3 episode. I just don't know that A Bug's Life is that quality.
Yeah. When you're pitting it against each other. That's what this
Yes,
is.
yes. They're both there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm not saying it's a lesser film. It's just not it's not what it's not hitting me the nostalgia like it does with Toy Story and it's just a special picture.
Yeah. So we'll see if maybe that changes. This is not again cemented in, but this is a good starting point. We can kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
gauge. Okay, so the next one is Toy Story 2.
We're here already.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I've probably mentioned this in the podcast. If I haven't, I've been hiding it well. Um, Toy Story 2 is my favorite Pixar film.
yeah.
So for me, it has to go up in the S category.
I, I'm I'm not going to disagree with you.
Okay.
I think we got to at this point because in my mind, just ask different, takes here and there, their opinion. Maybe they like Toy Story 2 over Toy Story 1 or vice versa, but they're almost one and the same in
Yeah.
a way, like just the quality of it. And it's just coming down to personal preference, but yeah, they're just
Gallagher Guy 88 said, I'd say a Bug's Life is great for the time, probably a B compared to the rest.
okay. So we've got a B vote going on there. So let's keep that in
Okay.
mind.
So let's keep that in mind in case we have to shift a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
good to, that's where we got it started, but it can be rearranged. So when
Yeah.
that's what this is. We gotta let it simmer a little bit, let it that digest so we
Yeah.
can feel good about it. Cause I feel good about it, but then you start putting these other movies in there. I think you can't have everything A and then maybe a few S or whatever. You gotta have to have
Yeah.
limits for each to kind of
Yeah. I
distinguish.
totally agree with you.
Okay, so this is probably the first hardest one. I think we got through the first 3 and are in agreement. I could see this being, just really tricky. Monsters, Inc. is next.
This is where it's going to be hard for me to be impartial. So I was just about to say when it came to A Bug's Life that and in Toy Story 2 that I was going to try to keep an open mind. This is where it becomes more difficult because it's such a good movie. Monsters Inc. is probably one of the best stories that Pixar has told.
Mm, it's a great story.
And
Man,
so
it's so
I'm
hard.
gonna for now vote for A.
I think I've got to also. I was gonna say it's a great film, but I can't put it up at the S. Like,
Now here
we're pitting it against what's up there, like, take out what's down in C. C's kind of our landing zone right now,
yeah,
just
yeah,
look at what is here. It's so hard, it's so
yeah,
good, it's
yeah,
so good, but to me, man, I know a lot of people have said Monsters, Inc. is their favorite Pixar,
yeah.
so I'm sure they would disagree, but I have to say it's up there, it's just we'll put it there for now. Well, let's just say, are we in agreement on that? A will be good for now.
That's
So
fine. Gallagher Guy 88 says every one of the movies just ends up in S. I think we joked about that before we came on here.
oh, yes. I've gotta highlight that one. That's, like, more of a true
Uh,
statement. If you just wanted to throw it up, you could almost make a case for all these movies being an
yes,
S. It's
Yes.
crazy. It's crazy how good these movies are. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, man. My head's hurting. We only got through 4 so far here. Finding Nemo. Uh, if I was making this list, I would throw it up an S. But I could see when you're comparing it to the others how it would probably be A. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I'm in 100% agreement with you. So let's for now, let's put it in S and then see where it lands.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Yes. If we wanna make this harder on
I
ourselves, I
said
don't
put it in S. I said put it
Oh,
in S.
you said S. I misheard you.
Yeah, because that's how you feel about it, and I'm kind of that's one of the ones I'm on the fence about.
Okay.
So let's see where it lands. Let's see if we get any comments about it. Maybe somebody else can kind of convince us.
Yeah. Let's get some feedback on it. I am gonna say if we wanna make this hard on ourselves, I don't like to put things hard on ourselves, but it would make it interesting, right?
Yeah.
Each tier class can only have 3 max.
Okay, no, that's gonna make it really hard, but yeah, we can try.
Yes. That's gonna make this
That's gonna make it
so
really, really hard.
because you gotta look at it like this is a top 3. Now, this can be shifted around and moved. We're just getting them in the tiers right now. We can go
Yeah,
back
yeah,
and get them
yeah.
in an order. We'll worry about that once we get it set, but for now, let's just see where these are gonna place on the tiers, and maybe we bump it up to 4, but let's see if we can do it. I don't know if we can. It's so hard. Uh, so Finding Nemo's on S. Now we're at Incredibles.
Okay.
I want your thoughts first. What are you feeling?
I know we're gonna argue about this one because I know you wanna put it in A, and here's the thing,
Oh, wow.
if we're only gonna put 3 in, I can see a lot of movies knocking that off for me.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh, wow.
um, I would put that in B, but you can
Ooh.
put it in A for now, and then we can move it later if we need to. Gallagher Guy
Wow.
88 says Incredibles can be in B, thought it was a cool
Wow.
movie, but never as a movie as the other ones,
Wow.
near a movie as the other ones.
That's shocking to me. I'm
So
just gonna be honest. Wow.
Let's start it with B and then see where it lands.
Yeah, we could change it, but I'm shocked. I'm really shocked right now. Wow, because Incredibles, man, I know a lot of people would put that up in S. So, man, okay, I'm okay.
Well,
I mean,
it's
that's the
not definite
voting.
yet. It's not definite yet. We're just getting it moved around, shuffled a little bit.
Yeah, that's just where we're starting at. So, whew, wow, that's just crazy. All right, so the next one is Cars. Oh my goodness.
Well,
I I'll say that if you're gonna put Incredibles in B, I think Cars goes in B, but I might be again outvoted on this one. But that's just my when I'm looking at everything else, that's where I'm leaning. What do you think?
see, if we're only doing 3 in a category, I got to agree with you on that.
Okay, so let's do
This
that.
is gonna be really rough for me, but yes. Cars is very special to me, and I know Incredibles is as well. I have a lot of nostalgia with both. But yeah, it's kind of where it has to land for now, and then we'll see where it maybe it'll shift down lower. I don't know.
Oh, man, I feel like we could also adjust it if we have to. I'm
Okay,
like
so
let's try 3
we
in a
got another
tier.
comment. C is for car, and that's where it belongs.
Ooh, hot take, hot take.
Uh,
It might go down there. We'll see. Well,
it might have to. It might have to. I don't want it. I don't agree with it, but it might have to.
And that's why we have to establish, like, if you were to probably put it as a movie, it would probably be at least an A for all these movies, but this is against what's up there. So right now we have Toy Story through Cars. That's the ranking we're seeing versus each other.
Yeah.
Now we've got to throw in Ratatouille. Oh my goodness. Uh,
So here, can we skip Ratatouille for a second?
if we have to, if it makes it a little easier, I'm
And here's
okay with
why I'm
that.
saying this. For me, S should be Toy Story, Toy Story 2, and Ratatouille.
And I could see that. I wouldn't have a problem with that
So I'm gonna
almost.
have if we put it in A for now, and then maybe like kind of like deal with it later, I can deal with that. But I don't know that I could go with it being in B at all. I don't think I can even live with that right now.
Let's see if we can at least get them placed and we can always move
Okay.
it. I
Okay.
think I agree with you. It has to be an A for now. That's so
Yeah.
challenging though for what we have left. So
Gallagher guy says, "Sorry, I'm not a fan of
ooh.
cars."
See, Cars has this reputation that it's for little kids because, yeah, little kids love that movie, but it's still a great movie. It is a great movie, and I enjoy it every time I watch it, but, I don't know, it just maybe it's probably if you love Cars, it's really, really, really clicks on there, and I like Cars, but it just I don't know. I wouldn't bash it to a C. I could see how some people would say that. I get where he's coming from, but
It
I'm trying to
Cars might have to end up in C though. It might have to.
oh,
We'll
man,
see. We'll see how it lands. We'll we'll
w
we'll 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 play with it.
yeah. Okay, so now Wally, to me, Wally is an A, but
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow.
but you got 3 heavy hitters in there. I call them heavy hitters because those are beloved. I think A Bug's Life is underrated, but Monsters and Ratatouille, it's like almost everybody loves it. So, I
So,
hate to say it, but you bump A Bug's Life down? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna make a deal with you here.
Oh, a deal.
How do you feel
Interesting.
about this? How do you feel about this? Incredibles goes to A and Bugs Life goes to B.
Incredibles goes to A.
And Bugs Life goes to B. That
I'm
gives
gonna
us some
move.
wiggle room. That gives
I'm
us
I'm
some wiggle room.
I'm gonna move this up. So you're wanting that.
Well, I'm just this is making it kind of fit a little bit to me in my mind. Even though I would put A Bug's Life with the top of the top, I have to say it's gotta be shifted around in order to work.
So you're saying Wally would go to B after that.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So this is how you think it would look.
Here's my problem. Our last movie
Yes.
our last movie is better than anything in the B category in my opinion.
That's why it's so hard. Um,
So how are you feeling about Up?
I think Up is fine where it's at because you're gonna have C as the low with
Yeah.
the amount of movies if you're doing 3 per tier. I think
And
that
Up
is
is a
gonna
great movie,
it
but
is.
it's not to me as good as some of the others.
Yes, I think we're in agreement. Up is gonna be at the bottom, and the first 2 Toy Stories go in at the S. I think that's one thing we can kinda just, yeah, that's good, but the everywhere in between is such a challenge. This is
Yeah.
such a challenge. Uh, if you want my personal with what is there, 'cause we've established Up as C. Oh, I hate to do this to you, but I would bump Cars down to C.
That's what I was thinking, and I don't wanna do that because it's literally probably my 3rd or 4th favorite Pixar movie,
But I will put it in
but
front of Up for sure. Like, I think that's
yeah,
set right there.
yeah, yeah,
Now we can come up this way and we have it set. We can still move stuff around, but we could almost do
yeah.
an order now because I do think it goes up Cars and then you've got your B up to S.
Gallagher Guy 88 says, "Up is going down." The name of the movie
Unfortunately,
wasn't originally called Up and Down, so
it's a fitting title, Up and
yeah,
Down. It's up but down. Uh, so that I feel good about that. As much as
yeah,
I think Cars shouldn't be that disrespected, I think B is a much more fitting place, but just
yeah.
again, the amount of films if we're gonna do that. I'm okay with do you wanna bump it up to 4? It doesn't mean there has to be 4 there. Um,
Well, it's if we do that, it's gonna make things I think even more difficult.
here's what I would say, S has to be 3. So you have a
Mhm.
top 3 as your S, but then you can do 4 for the rest. You don't have to. So here's how I would just we can move I can move this back, but here's how I would look at it. Because I think we have that distinction of Up just not quite being in comparison to the others. It's not a bad movie, but I think there's a separation there that you almost have to put it in its own category.
Okay.
We can bump Cars down there. I just feel bad for Cars getting that much of a
I do, and it was such a good movie, and it's such a great episode, to do with Buster's Garage.
Yeah,
Um,
it was a fun episode, yeah. It was a lot of fun.
um,
We can
hmm,
change it back to 3,
uh, I
but
don't know. I'm like, it's sinking in. It's sinking in. I'm getting a vibe. Um,
I kinda like how it looks, honestly. Like, maybe B is 4, but then S and A, you can only do 3.
I'm
So we'll
like,
make an
I'm
exception.
I'm shuffling how we would order these, and I know we're gonna argue.
Yeah, because I would still put okay, if we're gonna do this in order, let's are we in agreement on that? Let's establish this. S
Well,
is
let's
max of
take in
3.
Galaga Guy 88 says, Wally can be C, and
Ooh,
that actually works for me. I don't know about
ooh,
you.
ouch, ouch, but
I like the movie, but it's not as good as some of them.
ouch, wow.
Is it as good as A Bug's Life?
You know what, though? Um, in my mind, it is,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah. It's right there. I would put A Bug's Life above it, but you know what I mean? Like, I would put it in the same class, but I I just did it. So,
Okay.
it kinda does look good to me if it's a universal list.
Oh,
My list, I
wow.
would have it at least at an A, maybe a B, but I think it's
Okay.
up there. But I am understanding, and I'm fine with putting it in C. It feels like it's disrespected, but here's my thing. I thought about it. The problem I have with Wally is those real people footage. I think that kinda drags it down a little bit for me, but I love
Okay.
everything else about it. Like, there's so many memorable scenes to me. So, I think if you're looking at the movie as a whole, it does actually match being C.
Okay.
So, good input there, Galaga guy. We're gonna throw that up there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
That helps a
actually helped.
lot. Yeah.
I'm kind of in agreement on that. Again, both those movies in C are great movies, but
Yeah. Yeah.
by comparison, I can totally understand that. So,
And
okay.
we got another thing from Galaga Guy 88. My list, I would change Incredibles and Toy Story 3. I think I think we're gonna work with them.
Woo!
I'm not
Wow.
sure how we're gonna do this, but
Oh, man. Hmm.
well, that's kinda what I was gonna suggest too, now that I'm looking at it. I know that's hard for you, Isaac.
It's just wow. It's like, wow, because I think Incredibles is good in a different way. It just kinda it was a different kind of Pixar movie, but it was so good. It was like it kinda set the superhero movies before superhero movies, and I know that that's not everything, but I just man, wow. For going by votes and comments, though, I mean, if that's what everybody wants to
Well,
do.
we could do what we could do is like a conjoined kind of list, like a combined list from us in the comments, and then at the end try to rank them our personal ranking.
Yeah, I'd like to do a personal if we have time to do that too.
Um, which is
Yeah.
gonna be a little different.
Yeah, it'll be a
Because
lot different. Well, not a lot different, but it'll
I wanna say about half the Pixar movies we kinda disagree on.
yeah,
So,
that was great,
uh,
though. I love the different
they're all
takes.
good. They're all
Yeah.
good. It's just how I rank them personally is very different.
I mean, I'm gonna be frank about this, like, wow, actually. this is actually pretty close to my list in a way. I gotta shuffle some things around, but oh, wow. I kinda like this is where I think B is set to me. That's just me. Um, man, uh, A is a animal I don't know how to handle. Like, if you're trying to put these I know we were talking about but if this is your A, that's a difficult one for me to put in order. This one feels like it's in order. What are you how are you feeling about B? Like, if it's we can move Toy Story 3 out if that's gonna be the discussion. I'm just looking at it as is. What is your thoughts on B in the order?
Well, so oh boy, I don't know if I can say this out loud. Um, honestly, oh, it's hard for me to say. I don't
You've
know that
got
those
such a
movies belong together. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, let's work on something else and come back to it because
okay,
the,
okay.
the B
Um,
the B right there is really hard for me to deal with.
are we in agreement of switching? I will switch it now. I just wanted to look at it while it was set that way.
So Gallagher Guy 88 says, I rank them as it's a snowy day outside and I'm pulling a movie to watch with a cup of hot cocoa. Um, yeah, I don't. If you can you live with Incredibles being that low?
I could live with it, but I'm going with what the mass we're gonna make a list that's kinda universal, so
Can you
that's where
live
I'm
with
like, I can
Wally? Can you live with Wally being that low?
I can live with it as a universal list because, like I said, there are some glaring things about Wall-E. I feel like Wall-E hits a high where it's really high, and then it does hit some low where it's like, that's kind of unnecessary." We talked about it in the episode, like, there is an excessive amount of that song, that musical. I do feel like they overplay that. It doesn't ruin it for me, it's not what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say, it's
yeah, I
just
got you.
you're
It
you're
took you away
pitting this
from it.
against you're pitting this against Toy Story, where I feel like every frame in that movie is perfect. Like, I
Yeah,
don't have any qualms with that or the second one. I can't think of anything.
yeah.
So
Well,
that's my point. Like, yes, it is a C by comparison alone to Toy Story. Like, yeah, if you go by that reasoning. Now, as a movie, I can to go to Galaga Guy 88, if it's snowing out and I'm not going anywhere and I got
yeah.
some hot cocoa, Wally's gonna be up there for me. Might be one of the
Wow.
ones I reach for. Now, it might not be my top 3, I'll say that, but it's up there.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's a personal take, though. So I'm
Gotcha.
fine. To
Gotcha.
answer your question, I'm fine with it being that low because we're looking at this from a movie standpoint. I do
Yeah.
think it suffers at times. It's not a perfect movie. So, Incredibles is much harder for me to I can see that, but other than it is a more, intense movie, there's more action and stuff. It's not quite a kids movie. So that's I guess the argument I can take. If we're trying to make a Pixar fun for the whole family, Incredibles may at times not be for the whole family. It's not that it isn't, if that makes sense,
And
but by comparison.
I would also add, try to keep in mind that it's 11 movies and that
Yes.
they all can't be the top.
Yes, exactly. That's why
And
this is so
so,
hard.
to go along with what Gallagher Guy 88 said, I didn't read his comment. We'll go through and try to shuffle these in the right order. Right now we're doing it by release, I think. Is that what you're doing, Isaac?
Yeah, everything's set. So when we first start putting these on the list, we started by release. Now
Yeah.
it's fair game. We can move
Okay.
things around.
Okay.
And we have. I mean, we moved
Yeah.
Incredibles down, we moved Wally down, we moved Bugs Life down because it was an A.
Okay.
Um, Cars was down in C, got moved up, I think. Or no, yeah, it was, wasn't it? I can't even remember now. But anyway, we can still shuffle things around. This is fair game
Okay.
now. But the task is now we gotta put things in order. I
Yeah,
think
that's what I'm thinking too.
C is
Okay.
set. Up is at the bottom, and then Wally. So I think we've got that. If we wanna go in reverse, we can, or we can mix it up. We can go to
I
A, we
think
could go
it
to S.
I think it makes sense to go with S. How do you feel about kinda shuffling around S?
I'd like to hear your thoughts because to me, it's
Okay.
set.
Okay. So, this is
That's
where my personal preference is gonna take over.
okay.
I don't wanna sway you completely, but I do wanna give my point of view. So, Toy Story 2, in my opinion, is the best Pixar movie. In my top 25 movies of all time, it's the best animated picture.
Yeah.
So, I like the Toy Story 2 as the best of the best. And I
Yeah.
know that you like Toy Story a little bit more than Toy Story 2, but I feel like there's a lot of people that agree with me, and what pushes me on the other side is the music.
Yeah, that's a great argument. Everything you're saying, I can agree with. Here's my take. Like, we're almost bringing it to a debate here. Like, state your case. So that's a great case to make for Toy Story 2. Here's my case for putting one above two. I think 2 is the more fun movie, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's just got so much fun to it. Wayne Knight as, Al is just terrific. He's fun,
Yes.
he's hilarious. The new characters are fantastic. Um, it's got a fun story. It just feels like you're catching up with some old friends and you're hanging out and just having a ball. That's what Toy Story 2 to me is. Going back to Galaga Guy, I guess if that's the argument, it does win out because it's like, yeah, it's snowing out. I'm not going anywhere. You might reach for 2 over 1 in a way. It's like it's just a fun movie. That's where I actually look at Toy Story 2. Like you say it's the best animated. I'll disagree with you. I actually think Toy Story 1 is more of a cinematic feature. There's so much about it as a movie. I feel that way, but you feel like 2 is, and I could totally see that too. I agree and I disagree with you if that makes sense.
Galaga Guy 88 says, "Order in the court, state your case."
That's what this is right now. This is like so like the reason I love Toy Story just it's like a hairline. You know, when I say I like Toy Story over Toy Story 2, I almost love them both equally, but I do put one above it if I have to choose. The reason is I'm a quotes guy. And I argue Toy Story 1 has better quotes than Toy Story 2. They both have fantastic quotes. I'm not saying there's a big difference, but I think the difference is I think Toy Story is a more cinematic movie experience, just overall. The writing, the plot, um, the
See, now,
pacing.
if I could state my case, I
I'll
would
close
say.
I'll close my thought of just
Go
my
ahead, go
argu
ahead.
my closing thoughts are Toy Story is the more cinematic and it's got more quotes, so that might be swaying me. But then Toy Story 2, I think, is the more fun and it's nearly equal, but Toy Story 1 just edges it out. That's my thoughts. Anyway, you have the floor.
Your Honor, in the court, if it would please the court to. I honestly feel like, and I don't wanna go there, but the animation is much better in the second film.
Oh,
The
I agree.
voiceover work, I feel like the voiceover work is crisper, it's to the point. It might not be as quotable, but it's just a better scripted film. And I feel like all the way around it's a better movie. Now, I will say the original songs for the first movie were very strong, but the original songs for the second movie were even stronger.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you. I do think well, Toy Story 1 did have more songs, didn't it? Because you have for Toy Story 2, they redid "You Got a Friend in Me," and then they had um, it'd be the Sarah McLachlan song. Am I missing another one? I'm blanking now all of a sudden.
I
This
could
is
look it up.
because you have Toy Story had, this tells you how much I love the first one. It's like I can quote that movie, but it had "You've Got a Friend in Me." It's got "Strange Things." It's like that
Mhm.
transition from Woody trying to get used to Buzz being there. "I'll Go Sailing No More." So that's 3 to 2. They actually had more songs, but I agree you can make a case that,
Woody's
this
Roundup, When
okay,
She Loved Me. I'm trying to look here.
because do you count You've Got a Friend in Me again?
I wouldn't count it again.
Okay. So I think it's 3 to
Um,
2. I don't think that's a case that makes it well, Toy Story 1's better because it has more songs. I'm not trying to say that. I'm looking at the facts. I'm trying to get it all because this is a really hard decision. I'm not saying like, "Yep, I can say 1 is better." Uh, I don't know. We haven't heard Galaxy Guy or anybody else. Feel free to comment because
yeah,
I think
we can argue about this for an hour.
yeah, we can come back to it too, but feel free to
Yeah, that's
comment
another thing. Maybe we
anytime.
should come back to it. Maybe we should come back to it.
I will feel fine
Um,
conceding, but if you want my honest take on it, I'm like, I think that top 3 is set. 1 Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, and I think Finding Nemo is in that tier of just it's a masterpiece.
I'll offer another trade with you.
Oh, a trade. I feel like we're in school trading, like, baseball cards or something.
If you if you give me Toy Story 2 as the best movie, I'll keep Finding Nemo as the third.
Oh.
Because for me, Monsters Inc. and Ratatouille are better than Finding Nemo.
And I could see that. This isn't a trade, this turned into blackmail, though. We'll make Toy Story 2, and you'll still see Finding Nemo. It won't be Sleeping with the Fishes tomorrow, if you know what I mean. No, I get it, though. No, I totally get that. Oh, that's so hard. That's so hard.
Well, think
I
about it.
would
Well,
here
let's
here
move on to A. Let's move on to A, and we'll come back. We're not
here's a
getting
hot
anywhere.
take. Yeah, we'll come back to it. I know we'll get it decided here, but here's my hot take. I would put that the order for A.
So Gallagher Guy 88 is trying to back me up and says Jesse's song had the most audience had most of the audience confusing tears. Why am I getting so emotional during a kids movie?
Yeah. No, there's no argument to that. That's a phenomenal scene, song, all the above. I think you gotta look outside though as a movie as a whole, because then I'll go back to Wally. Like I'm not gonna say they're the same, so don't take it this way. But I'm just saying Wally had, oh, this is such an amazing scene, but it did have, that weak
It
spot. So
was
that's why I can,
impactful. It was impactful. Wally had very good points to it for sure.
yeah. I could see it. I'm not disagreeing like two being the first. I don't have a problem with it. I just if we're trying to go by like just movie as a whole, I guess we're just on the opposite sides. Like you feel it's the better overall movie experience, and I feel that about one. That's where a lot of personal viewpoints come in, but you can be
Yeah.
right. You know what I mean? Like we're not wrong. It's just so hard. It's so hard. Like, oh man. Uh I will switch it for now, and we can see how it looks for a bit. How about that?
I didn't mean to bully you.
No, no, no. The votes are coming in. Um, Now Galaga Guy does say Jesse's song had the most audience in confusing tears. He didn't say like I would put it above. We can go ahead and do that. I'm fine putting it here. We're still shuffling things around. We can let that simmer. Um, but I would be okay with that. I'm not going to disagree and be like, no, this is outrageous because they're so close. Like I could totally see two being the best. So with that, okay, what do you think about A? I'm interested to see what your thoughts are.
Whoa. Did Toy Story 3 get up there somehow?
We swapped Incredibles.
Okay.
That Incredibles went
I
down.
forgot. I was looking at my phone for a I had a list. I had a list of movies on here, and I was gonna.
So yeah. And again, like you were talking about Finding Nemo going down. I mean, we can bring that into the equation here. But the thought is focus on A. when you're making the order. What are your thoughts? What's jumping out to you?
Okay, so with A, um, I'm good with A.
Okay,
Now,
I'm
do you feel like you need to put an argument for Incredibles to be an A?
hmm. Me, this sounds really crazy, but for me, Incredibles should replace Toy Story 3. But I understand. I mean, Toy Story 3 is so good. It really is. I do think it fits being an A. I'm just shocked. Like, wow, I would put. I'm okay. We got A set right. So here's my order for B. Then, I mean, if you're gonna drop Incredibles down, it's right there because it's like teetering on A, but there's just not any room for it.
I think I can live with that. I think I can live with that.
Like, I'll move it back, but here's how I almost picture it. You could almost do that because to me, it's. You can make the case it's a different movie compared to the others, but it's in that class. Now, I could be outnumbered on that. I know we're sticking to 3. I'm just giving you a visual of, like, that's how I
Yeah.
feel about it. It's so close, but if you had to make a 3, I can totally get that. Um, or actually, so here's hopefully I can. Okay. Here's actually how I would order it. That would be my A. But
Okay.
this isn't my ranking. So, but if you were to say, "Hey, you could do 4 in A," I think Incredibles would squeeze right in there. Um,
Mm. Wow, that's something to think about.
and if it's my personal list, it might even go up here. I don't know. I'd
Oh
have
my
to sit
goodness.
down and look at it. Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
crazy talking there.
I said my personal list, so I made that very clear.
I'm just kidding with you.
I know. I was like, I
Uh,
gotta make sure it's personal, so there's a big difference there because this is I'm trying to
Gallagher Guy
think of
88 Gallagher Guy 88 says this just keeps getting harder to decide. We're
it
getting towards
is?
the end, so I feel like we're getting there and we're making progress. See, I'm good with this list. This list I can agree with. My only thing is, well, there's 4. um, for me, Finding Nemo would be down on the list a little bit, and then Cars would be a little bit higher, and I think A Bug's Life might even be a little bit higher. But that list I can live with. What about you?
As a universal list, it can be set. I'm good with it, but my tweak would still go back to Toy Story 1.
And I was gonna say, if we wanna do this, we can do Toy Story 1 and then Toy Story 2, and then just for me mentally, I'll the way I'll justify this is that the one came out before the other one, and the other's a sequel, and then that's what I'll have to live with.
But that's probably more of a personal preference. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
interested to hear what if we were to put a poll out. Maybe we'll have to do that. Like we can leave it as is because I think we could debate this for hours and
Yeah.
it would be absolutely blast to do that, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
um, so if we unless there's any that's the only thing that sticks out to me. I think everything else looks really good to me. I've already stated I would probably put Incredibles swapped, but I'm also okay with it being down.
Gallagher Guy 88 says after the universal list, you should make both your personal. So I have one already listed. I've already got one
We can do that.
that
I
I
mean,
can. Yeah.
do you have this noted? I'm gonna
Let me take a picture.
take a picture of it, have it so we have it for the record. Because I think the easiest way is you just tell me your order. And that's what we've done in the past. Like we would go back and forth. But I think in this case we should just do our lists and see what happens. Like,
Yeah.
now when you're doing your list, are we gonna stick to 3 per tier
No, I was
max?
gonna rank them numerically.
Okay. Um, so you're just gonna put them in order. Okay.
Yeah.
I will move. So you've got that picture. Okay, so there you have it, everybody. That's our universal list, and maybe we'll put a poll out. We'll get a picture of it, put it out there, see what people's thoughts are. Like, do you agree with this list? Do you disagree with it? Is it, pretty much spot on? Whatever. We'd love to hear your thoughts. But with that, we're gonna start. We'll start with you, Seth, because I might have to think on mine. I'm gonna move these up, and I might use 2 lines. Does that work for you?
Okay. That's fine with me.
Okay. So what is at your bottom? I don't think that's a shocker, but I still have to ask you. I've
What
got
do
it
you
ready.
mean? So number 11, I've got Up.
Okay.
And I'm going to laugh really hard because I did not remember this. But number 10, I've got Wally.
Okay. So right on with the
I
universal
didn't
so
remember
far.
that. And then this is where you're going to get mad at me. And I
It's your
don't,
list. It's your list.
it could change every day.
Yeah.
This day that I made the list, I'm going to put Incredibles at number 9.
Okay. I understand though. I get it. That's your list. So at
You're
least
gonna
it's
laugh at
above
you're gonna
up.
laugh at this too. Toy Story 3 is the next one,
Okay.
so
I
you don't
can
have to
see
do
that.
anything.
Okay.
And then all the way at 7, I got Finding Nemo.
Okay. So that goes in front of Toy Story 3. Okay.
At 6, I've got Cars.
Okay. Interesting.
At 5, I got A Bug's Life.
Okay.
At 4, I've got Monsters Inc.
Okay.
At 3, I've got Ratatouille.
So I'm going to put your top 3 right there. That's a good way
Okay.
to do it. Okay.
And then Toy Story and Toy Story 2.
So there's your list. Okay. That's a pretty solid list. I mean, everybody's going to have their own personal preference, but I'm like, no, that's a good list. You got your top 5: Bugs Life, Monsters, Ratatouille, Toy Story, Toy Story 2. That's really good.
Most of those I saw in the theaters, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, wow.
I don't think I saw Ratatouille in the theaters. That's the only one of your top 5 I did not see. Um, wow. Okay. So that's Seth's list. For me,
You might have
it's
to
all
work your way down. You might have to work your way down.
yeah, so I'll do like what you did. Number 11 is Up. We're bashing this movie, but it's a good movie. It's just
It's a
by
good movie.
comparison.
I was surprised how much I liked it the last time I watched it.
Yeah. It's a good movie again, but I just by comparison there's just always a easy no, it's just not quite there. So that's my 11. Oh. Okay, so my number 10, please don't hate me. I'm going to put Cars there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't hate you. I just it's surprising. That's all.
It's a big step up from Up. Play on words there. It's a step up from Up.
It's a drive.
Yes. It's a drive up. Like I would here, I'll even do this, like make you feel
Okay.
better. Like
That yeah, that makes me feel better.
even though this is going to be a ranking in order, I'm still putting it uh, Cars in its own category.
Okay.
Uh this is where it gets a little tricky for me.
I think I know
So,
where you're going with the next one.
I don't know though.
I think I know. I think I know.
Okay, I'm going because I'm going back and forth with a couple actually. So number 9. Wow. Wow. Oh, okay. I'm going back to, Galaga Guy's reasoning of, like, what I'm going to grab because, again, this is my personal list, so I am going with, like, my personal taste, right?
Yeah.
So I've got it locked in. I promise you I will not change the answer, but what did you think I was going to do for number 9?
I thought you were gonna move Toy Story 3 to Incredibles.
I was actually gonna do Ratatouille.
Whoa!
Yeah, isn't that
Whoa!
crazy?
No! You're insane.
I know. I thought I'd get that reaction out of you.
This shows you how good Pixar movies are.
It is. It is.
Oh my goodness.
I think when you're not in the mood for Ratatouille, because it's a mood movie to me. If you're not in the mood, it kind of puts it down a little bit. But if you're in the mood, it could be, top three. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm going back to my Wally reasoning, and I'm gonna say Wally is probably right after that. That would probably be my 8, actually. As much as I love that movie, no, actually, it would be Toy Story. I about left that out. That's who I was going back and forth. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I did leave that. No, I have to swap them. No, I have to. There.
That makes me
I
feel
know
a
I.
little bit better.
I know
Although
I said I would lock.
Toy Story 3 is getting some hate now, so
It is. I corrected it. Now I promise you I locked it in because I want to just
Ah,
tell you the truth. That was what. But I
okay.
have to switch it because for Toy Story 3, I didn't take it home.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and I didn't take Ratatouille home, but I think, man, man, they're almost right there. But that's where I'm gonna go with it.
Okay. Okay.
That's where I'm gonna go. I think Wally is gonna actually be next, and then A Bug's Life. So we've got 10, 9, 8, Ratatouille at 8, Wally's at 7. Um, I think I'm gonna actually move. This is gonna cause so much hate in you right now. I know
Oh
it
my
is.
goodness. Oh.
Yes, yes. 10, 9, 8. I'm losing my place here. So 10, 9, 8, 7. Monsters Inc. gets my 6. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
It's right there though. Um, so my
Okay, so Gallagher got 88. I got to jump in here.
I'm sure
So
he's ripping me in too.
he says Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Toy Story 3, Ratatouille, A Bug's Life, Incredibles, Wall-E, Up, and Cars. That's
Let me
his
throw
list.
let me throw that up there. So that's
I agree
from
with most of that list, Gallagher Guy 88. That's a very well stated list for sure.
so he had Toy Story 1 above Toy Story 2.
Well,
Interesting.
I think most people will. I think most people will. It's the original film, and
So for our
depending on when
universal
I think
list,
depending on when you were born, I think that makes a huge difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Toy Story 1 we should have had that on our universal list then.
Well, I said something before we changed lists, but you didn't
It's fine.
listen to it apparently.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm okay
I
with it.
stated my final case on that.
That's why we gotta maybe we should just do a poll, like, which one do you like better, Toy
Yeah,
Story 1 or
yeah,
Toy Story 2? That would be an
yeah.
interesting poll. We'll do that.
I
Okay.
agree.
Um, there we go. There we go. I think that's
Well, you got to switch to Toy Stories though.
yes. There
Yeah.
there's my list. I feel there it is. Yep, that's it.
And
So
that's a
number
strong
11,
list.
yeah. Man, it's so hard though. So but yeah, 11 is up, Cars is 10, Toy Story 3 is my 9, Ratatouille is 8, Wally is 7, Monsters is 6, Bugs Life makes it in the top 5, Incredibles is 4, Finding Nemo is 3, Toy Story 2. I was about to say Finding Nemo 2. What's wrong with me? Uh Toy Story 2 is number 2 and Toy Story 1.
That's a strong list. I think I saw all but 3 in the theaters. So, I have really strong memories with all of these movies for sure. Um,
It's hard.
wow,
It
that's a
really
strong
is.
list. I don't want to give you too much shade, but I kind of do.
It's fine. I was like, I'm gonna upset Seth because I'm putting a lot of your favorites down at the lower end of the spectrum here, and then I'm putting
But they're all good. They're all
yeah.
good movies. I can understand that.
If I got the same it feels like Ratatouille. Here's where I'll stop a minute for Ratatouille. If I got the same experience every time I saw it, it would and it was on the good like, not that I'm saying I have a bad experience with it, but you know what I mean? Like, when it's at the top, like, "Man, this is such an incredible movie." Oof, it'd be hard to keep it out of my top 3, much less top 5, but there's sometimes you're just not in the mood for it, and that's me. I know some people are like, "I could watch it all day, any day," and I could see that too, but for me, it's just I don't know, it has more of a I enjoy it so much more if I'm in the mood. I still enjoy it even when I'm not in the mood, so I have to make that clear, but
Yeah.
man, you're
If I
cutting
could
hairs.
yeah, if I could say something real quick, I think with Ratatouille, it's the movie hits differently at different times.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so I'm gonna let that slide a little bit with your list. And I understand how you feel. And so I'm gonna be okay with that one. There are a couple that I'm not okay with, but that's okay.
I'm sure Cars is like and Monsters are the 2 that you're gonna
Pretty much. I don't think Finding Nemo is nearly as good as a lot of these. And Finding Nemo is amazing. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
not
yeah. Oh.
amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
No,
great picture. I'm
that's how I
just saying it's not as in my book, it's not nearly as good as some of these.
yeah. Well, that's how I feel about Monsters, like, I hate putting it that low, but it's like, my goodness, like, it's you're splitting hairs, you really are.
Well, this list is a hard list to come by. I mean,
Oh, it's hard.
to sort these movies is it's painful at times.
It's very, very hard, but I don't know, that just looks right to me as much as they're so close. I could almost swap, but I think that's actually right. The more I keep looking at it, it's like, yes, but it's not like this is my list. Like, if somebody had Up at 1, I could kinda see that. Um, they would probably have Toy Story 2 and Monsters right behind it because they like emotional movies. That would be my guess of why they really like Up, but I can understand it. It's a good movie, but I'm trying to look at it objectively of like kinda like what Gallagher guy said, like, these are the movies I'm reaching for first. So it's a snowy day, I've got hot chocolate. I'm gonna probably reach for Toy Story 1 more than the others.
Mhm,
Toy Story 2 is right there, though. It might even be about the even amount. It's just a coin flip at that point. Finding Nemo is just I don't know, there's something about it this I like adventure movies. Maybe that helps if I'm gonna try and defend myself a little bit. I really
yeah,
like adventure movies. And Finding Nemo is like an adventure. They're going across the ocean and they're coming across all these characters. And you can make that case about The Incredibles. You can make that case about A Bug's Life. They're adventure movies. They're going on a journey to, this or that. And you can make that case for Cars, but in a way, it's also in a town. You know what I mean? That's where the premise is really set.
mhm,
Is that's the meat of the movie. Whereas I feel like Finding Nemo spreads that out. There's a you could we talked about it like the dentist office could be its own TV show. It's
mhm.
part of the movie, but it's so good, like that aspect of it. And then with Dory and everything, there's that going on. So I don't know. That's me, but to other people, like you're saying, you would put Nemo down. I could see that too. It's it's so hard. That's all we can say. This is a hard, hard list too. Oh yeah, and Galaga guy just said something about Cars. Has
Actually, he said, "Wait until you all get to the sequels involved." And
oh,
then
I missed that one. Let me throw that one up there. Here
Finding
we go.
Nemo is a natural national treasure, and then Cars has what, 3 sequels? And also Incredibles 2? So I think he's trying to make a point of that these are the list is gonna get harder. I think the list will get easier once we get more movies, in my opinion. I think it'll be easier to dictate which one goes where.
Yeah, I won't comment on the sequels in case we cover them. I want to leave
Yeah.
that. But that is going to be interesting to consider to try and put the sequels in there. Um, 'Cause that's what this podcast is about. Like, what you're saying, "Oh, it'll be easy," and maybe it will. I'm not disagreeing with you, but then you
Yeah,
watch it and you go, "Wait a minute," and you're remembering differently. That's what this
yeah,
podcast is about. We're looking
yeah.
at movies in the past that at that time we had an opinion on it, but now you watch it, maybe it's been a few years, maybe you actually don't like it as much as you did, or you love it now and you just didn't like it as much. So it will be interesting. We'll get to that point, I'm sure, at some point, and who knows? Maybe we'll make another live where we try and rank them. I don't know. That sounds ludicrous to me. That's going to be insane to try and go back and rank them. I don't know. That's going to be really, really difficult. But I feel good about our Universal as much as I might have changes here or there. But
Mhm.
I mean, I think it was pretty good. What are your thoughts?
I'm really happy with all the lists. They're all distinctive and um they kind of well, it's good. It's hard for when you put your personal individual thoughts into place for these movies. It's going to be a mix mash of everything, but I think they turned out really well. All three lists were entertaining for sure.
Yeah. I love it actually. I love the differences as much as it's
Yes,
like, no, I
yes,
don't agree with that. I love
yeah,
the variety and it makes you think about things differently. Um, I mean, we talked about Toy Story 2 and Toy Story. Like, you feel it's the more cinematic, and I'm like, oh no, I actually thought the first one was, but it made me think. You know what I mean? It's like I maybe don't agree, but I also am thinking about it. Like, I could see that. I
yeah.
totally get that. So it's really cool. It's just that's what we were hoping with this podcast. We're not going to be peanut butter and jelly all the time. Like we
Do you
just
want
met.
to do you want to put the combination list on there back on there before we close?
Yes, let's do that real quick.
So
So,
let's go ahead and keep let's put Toy Story it's the second one or the first one I mean, and then Toy Story 2 is because that's what we meant to do, I think.
okay,
And then
if you're
Finding
good with
Nemo's
that.
yeah, Finding Nemo's there, and then Ratatouille,
Okay, Ratatouille is in the A class. Okay.
then Monsters Inc.,
Okay.
then
And
Toy
that goes
Story
down.
3,
Okay.
then Incredibles, then A Bug's Life, and then Cars, and then yep, you got it.
Perfect. All
So
right.
I like that list. I like that list a lot.
I
I
do
know
too.
Incredibles is kind of low, and I know A Bug's Life is kind of low. I know all my car guys, anybody that's listening to this is a car guy, is going to say Cars is low. But I like that list.
I do
I
too.
can agree with it. I can agree with it, and I can a stamp of approval.
So here's how this is just my personal take, as much as I'm trying to look at it universally. S class is like masterpiece in
Yeah,
terms of movie making, the overall. It's got a variety of things going on with it. It's not that it does one thing really well, it does nearly everything, if not
yeah,
everything, well. A is right there. It's just off of compare when you're pitting them against each other to
yeah,
the S class, but it could be a S class on its own. These right here. B is okay. It's very close, but there might be you can list a few things that just don't quite stack up. Again, being pitted against what is
yeah.
above it. And then C has got more of a separation of these are great movies, but there's Wally, like I said, that's some glaring things of the live action stuff. They're playing movies. It doesn't gel as well. It kind of takes me out of the movie at times,
Yes,
depending on when I
yes,
watch it. And then Up is it's just gonna wreck you. Like you gotta
yes.
be in a mood to watch that
And
one.
I should probably make that clear if anybody's listening that hasn't listened to the episode.
Yeah.
Up ruined me. Up was like
It wrecks
I
you.
cried so hard in that movie for like 30 minutes.
It's it's like you're talking about like Galaga guy was saying, "Oh, Toy Story 2, everybody was crying." I'm like, yes, that can be beautiful, but it's not always a good thing depending on
Yes,
your mood and timing. It's still a great, just beautifully done. It captures, like we talked about, life and experiences, but man, it's not something I want to put myself through all the time.
and
So
I think that this list is and I don't wanna sound snobbish, like movie snob. This list right here is very cinematic.
That's what I was hoping to go for. I think
This is very critical,
yeah,
and I like that. I like that a lot.
yeah, I agree. I like this list a lot.
Gallagher 88 says, I hear I can't read. I could hear Isaac's heartbreak when Incredibles was brought down a rank. And then he goes, "Yeah, here. Okay, there we go."
Yeah. I it's understandable, though. Like, I know people love Toy Story 3,
Yeah,
and it's a great movie. I mean, it's a perfect cap on that trilogy. I
yeah,
mean, you can't draw it up better. Oh, it's just I don't know. I think it just comes down to your personal preference. So that's why I'm good with this list. That's why I
yeah,
agree. I am 100% with you, Seth. Like, this is a great list. Like, I can get that. I think you gotta pit them against each other. That's what this
yeah,
list is, not movies as a whole, because going back to Incredibles, if you pit it against some superhero movies, it might be in the S rank. Like, I actually am going to say that. If you say make a superhero movie list, I would put that, if not S, it's right there in A. Like,
yeah.
it's very close. I'd have to look at the list and see, but just off the top of my head, it's up there. So, but this is pitting it against Pixar, and we're making this off of Pixar. So, I think it's a fantastic list, honestly. I think it
Mhm.
captures what you said. It's a cinematic, and I could see Ratatouille switching with Finding Nemo, but I still feel good about it. There's just something about it. It looks right to me, but I wouldn't be opposed to that type of thing. That's what I guess you can get down to it with these
And
lists. It can
honestly, I should have made a list that was, my favorite episodes of season 2, not just the movies, because that it was very special.
Yeah,
I mean, I think of Cars, I think of Ratatouille, I think of Finding Nemo, I think of Toy Story. Monsters Inc. was amazing. Um,
yeah.
oh,
They're
it
just
just
they're all
had so
amazing.
many great episodes.
Yeah. They're amazing. You can really say that. This top 5 is amazing. So your 5 is Monsters, Ratatouille, Finding Toys. That's just amazing. That's an amazing top 5 to me. Um, but looking at it this way, I think it's set. I'm totally good with it. Are you good with it
Yeah,
then?
I'm good with it.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. We did what I think was very difficult. Very, very difficult. Whew, I'm, like, exhausted from that. Um But we'll be sure to post a picture of that. We've got a picture. Uh, thank you for getting that, Seth. We'll post that on our so if you
Oh,
want
if
to
I would have
refer
known
to
we
it
were gonna
later.
post it, I would have cropped it out.
It's good. It's good. We'll get a picture of it in some shape or form. So, we might put a poll out there though, because we want to hear your thoughts. If that was a good list, if there was some things,
Yeah, where do we go wrong?
yeah, did we really screw up, or is it pretty close, but maybe some tweaks? We want to hear your thoughts on it. So I don't know. Anything else in closing that you wanna say, Seth? I think we wrapped it up pretty well.
I look forward to season 3. Season 2, season 1 had their own thing. We got another thing from, Gallagher Guy 88. You were
Yes,
tasked with the impossible.
it felt like it. It really did. I feel good about it, but man, that was hard. That was really, really hard. And thanks to you, Galaga Guy 88. We'll give a shout out. Everybody, be sure to check out Galaga Guy and his channel. He's got some great content if you like arcades and just funny videos too. He's got some shorts going on there. So be sure to check him out. But thank you for your contributions. I think that eased it a little bit. I'll make that comment.
And
Um,
check out Monsters Inc. episode, our Monsters Inc. season 2 episode.
yes. Yes. Be sure to check that out. That's where Galaga Guy joined us. And you know, it, we'll make just a quick announcement to kind of wrap up here. So we're going into season 3. We're going to take the month of November off. So just be aware of that. If you're looking for new episodes, we feel it's a good time to take a little break and breather, because Pixar was it's a lot of fun, but we almost want to catch our breath a little bit. But we're gonna be back in December. and it's going to be a special month. Seth, do you want to tell them what is planned for December?
We're going to cover the Sonic movies, Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's right. Sonic 1, 2, and 3 is not released yet. So stay tuned because we will review it at some point. We don't have much information yet because, of course, it's not out yet, but we will at least get the first two covered. And then when that's released, and that's going to be our third season, we're going to kick it off. We've got a lot of movies. I mean, there's so many possibilities, but you got to just stay tuned. That's the only tease we're going to give you because that's something to look forward to. Although we'll be off in November, we'll pick right back up in December, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We are so hyped for Sonic and Sonic 3 coming out. So keep up to date on that. There's a trailer out for it, and I think they're going to release another trailer. There's a rumor of that. So if that's interest to you, if you're a Sonic fan, I'm sure you're excited with us as well. So that is it. Seth, do you want to remind people where they can find us on our social?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And you can also email us at Buster's Garage. Oh my.
You check them out too.
Movies and Grandma's House at gmail.com.
Yes. So check out those links, and Seth made mention. Yes, do you want to tell people about that? Do you have a podcast that you're also on as well?
Yes, I'm on the Buster's Garage podcast with my good buddy Dave. We don't have any episodes coming out right now, but we will soon in the future. You can always check out season 1 and 2 so far, and we'll always have some new content coming. So
Yeah. And we got a comment from Galaga Guy. Yep, gotta go fast. That's it. That's it. We are so excited for that. And yes, absolutely. Want to give you a shout out, Galaga Guy. Again, if you have not already, be sure to subscribe to Galaga Guy 88. Check out his content, his videos. He's got some really cool stuff going on there. And especially if you like arcades. I mean, he's got you covered. But again, big thank you to him. And thank you for everybody that dropped in, even if it was just a moment or a few minutes here and there. We thank you so much. We might try to do like a little recap or check in, do some more lives because we had a blast. I don't know. Do you have a good time there, Seth?
it was awesome.
I had a blast. We had some agreements. We had some disagreements, but it was a fun every second. I loved every second of it. It was so much fun. So that'll do it now for now at Grandma's house. But don't worry, we will be back soon, as we mentioned. So stay tuned. We will be back in December. But in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.